What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Adam and Steve Show. I'm
Ass, baby.
Steve,
And I'm Adam.
and we are Ass.
Ass, baby.
And today, we're going to jump right into things and talk about Disney. I know everyone loves Disney so much, and it's actually some pretty crazy news that a lot of people are really happy about. And that is that Bob Iger is back as CEO of Disney. And is it Chapek or something like that was in charge
Bob
for?
Chapek, yeah.
Yeah, he apparently did a horrible job. I mean, Disney Plus alone is like down $1 billion, I think, this year, and a bunch of other
Really.
things. So they're definitely taking a lot of different revenue drops. And it's crazy to think that Disney is not doing well, but apparently he did not do things as well as they wanted him to. So they're going back to the guy who literally started all of these different things and ran Disney for, I want to say, like almost 20 years or something crazy like that. So he signed, I guess, a 2-year deal. So it's not long term. He's looking for someone to take over that's not Chapek. So what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I think it's great. From a creative standpoint, I do think Disney has definitely been not at a too low, not their lowest point, but it's not been great. I think Star Wars went into a negative direction. I think lately with Marvel has been after the peak of Endgame, we're definitely on a lower point than we were earlier. But and Disney Animation Studios like Frozen 2, Wreck-It Ralph 2, like Encanto was good, but they're just not marketing their animated films as we know with Strange World coming out soon. Or do you even know about Strange World coming out? You know, because they've not talked about it. Um, so I'm excited about this. Too many live action remakes. I don't know if any of this is the reason why, but I can definitely say that I have not enjoyed the way that things have been run lately with Disney.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, especially on a few different points, because some of the best animated movies that have been coming out lately, you would think they're going to shove into theaters and get all this money, but some of the best ones have been coming out on Disney Plus, which is insane to think because you would think Disney Plus is the place where they're putting like the straight to DVD stuff they used to do, but what is it? The one with the girl, the panda one?
Turning
Seeing
Red.
Red, Turning Red. Turning Red
Mm-hmm.
is like one of the best Disney movies to come out this year, and sadly, it doesn't have a box office because it went straight on Disney Plus. And a few other things like the Chip and Dale movie that I personally really loved. Stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that I think with the right person in charge, I think they might have made better decisions when it came to a lot of those properties that seemed to really blow up on Disney Plus and obviously didn't have that big of a financial impact for them. So I'm excited to see Bob Iger step back in because it seemed like they were kind of making some bad decisions.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm excited going forward, and yeah, I'm a big fan. Like, think about it. When was the last time a Disney animated movie won Best Animated Feature? Was it Encanto last year?
I think it would have to be. And before that, I honestly am not. Was it like Frozen or something?
Soul, Frozen 2, did not do it. Soul was Pixar though. And then like even Sony Animation is winning Oscars out here, you know? So I definitely think Disney Animation Studios needs to step up their game. I do think Encanto was a step in the right direction. I saw Strange World recently, and I think that is a step backwards. But yeah, I just really am excited for a change up over there at Disney, you know?
That's disappointing to hear about that movie, but I'm still gonna go see it. And I honestly, I still get excited for Disney stuff for sure, but this definitely gets me more excited because, yeah, there are some decisions that they've been making that just aren't the right ones, especially with the animation studio. And yeah, I'm just very hopeful for a different turn and all of that kind of stuff.
I do feel bad for the guy. He had to, do the job throughout the entirety of the pandemic, you know?
Yeah, and they gave him praise for that, which is nice, but
Mhm.
it didn't seem like he got the best situation to deal with to begin with. So I don't think it's all for him to take the whole blame for, but they're getting the guy that they know and love back in, and I think that's the most important thing, I guess.
Yes, I agree. But speaking of Disney, the Disney came out with a new big blockbuster in the form of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. How did you feel about it?
Personally, I loved this movie.
Oh,
Sorry, I burped a little bit there.
you're
But
good. I also loved it.
yeah, I thought it was really, really amazing because walking into that movie, I didn't really watch too much of the trailers. I saw like the first initial one and saw they were paying tribute to Chadwick immediately, which was very awesome to see. But walking in there, I was not sure what they were going to do with the story because, as we all know, or as most of us know, I shouldn't say all, but Chadwick was supposed to be in Black Panther 2. Ryan Coogler had a script written while Chadwick was still with us, and he personally never got to read it because he was so sick that he actually told Ryan that he couldn't read it at the time that he was so busy, but in reality he was too sick to do so, which is very unfortunate. But because that happened, Ryan Coogler had to go back in and rewrite it all from scratch and decide what he was going to do with all these characters. And personally, I think he did a phenomenal job. I couldn't think of anything he really could do differently putting all these characters in the place where they were, especially jumping right into after they lose T'Challa, like immediately seeing the aftermath of that, it was very emotional because not only did it feel like they weren't only grieving for T'Challa, they were grieving for Chadwick Boseman. All of those characters felt like real people in that moment, and the actors kind of felt like they were doing the same for their loved friend. So
Mhm.
that was all it was very emotional movie for all of that, as well as the story brought in all that emotion too, with them having to realize who's going to take over Wakanda and who's going to be their protector against this new big bad thing that's honestly looks like it's going to take out all of Wakanda, which is insane to think about being like one of the most powerful countries or whatever you want to call it in the entire world. So
Mhm.
all of that made it very interesting, and this felt like the biggest Marvel movie since Infinity War and Endgame, all that stuff. So it was really nice to see all that, and I think it was an amazing tribute to Chadwick in general.
I do also want to shower this movie with praise. I do want to mention that when we look back at this movie with history, when we look back and talk about this movie, we need to remember the context of the situation. I know we all would have loved to see that the Black Panther 2 with T'Challa coming back as the Black Panther, but real life situations came together as such so that we were not able to experience that. And considering, like this is not like an Edgar Wright with Ant-Man situation where we're like, oh, what could have been,
Yeah,
like that was like stupid politics and like studios wanting money and crap, creative differences.
yeah.
But this wasn't creative differences. This was actual life altering like stuff that happened. And considering what they had to overcome, I think it's a monumental achievement because I completely agree. This is the best MCU movie since Endgame, and I really don't think that it's close at all. This is my only 5 out of 5 of Phase 4.
I think that is the same for me, except Shang-Chi I think was 5 out of 5 for me, but that's for a whole
Mm.
different reason, just because I'm a big martial arts guy. But just in general, movie, this is by far one of the best movies they put out in general, just because they hit all the marks. Some great fighting in there, some fantastic music. I loved the music. All the
Mm-hmm.
different effects of them like doing the water stuff with those different group of people that came in. I thought all of that looked fantastic. In the story, like as you were talking about, they had to change everything to kind of meet real life issues. So all of that being said, this is kind of the perfect movie in that situation, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I if I had two little small gripes, it would be visually about this movie. I do think the special effects were I don't think they're bad for MCU standards. For MCU standards, I think they're pretty good, but I think the cinematography is not something I really enjoyed too much in this movie, but it's an MCU movie, so what can they really do? But yeah, no, I like the rebound. One thing that I do also want to gripe about is all I really needed was the Marvel, like that opening 15 minutes, right? Like let's have the funeral, and then let's have the Marvel logo with just Chadwick. That's all I need. And then the fact that like even in the mid-credit scene, are we allowed to talk about the mid-credit scene?
I mean, we can put a little spoiler thing here, I guess, because I don't think it's that big of a thing.
Well, I
So
feel like it's been 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I feel like we should have seen this movie now, you know?
if people are really out there and wanting to see it, I think they've probably seen it by now. But spoiler for the mid-credit scene of Black Panther 2, I guess.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
spoilers. But yeah, no, the whole mid-credit scene is like, okay, here we have, son T'Challa. Where they had a child. And for me, that was kind of like a cynical, like, oh, you have your cake and eat it too. Like you wanted to make a movie where, okay, Shuri is the new Black Panther, right? But you don't know how that's going to land. So you leave yourself with options. M'Baku challenges for the throne at the end of the movie, and there's no one there to challenge him. So he could potentially be the next Black Panther. And then
Which
we
I love. I want that to happen so bad. Winston Duke, by far, is one of the best people in this movie. I just wanted to shout that
mm.
out real quick.
No, I agree, and he's earned it. He's been a fan favorite since the first movie. You know,
Hmm.
so but yeah, they give them options, and you know how I heard this little rumor, and I'm sure it has little validity, but did you see the thing that Tom Holland in the next Spider-Man movie is going to have like facial hair, like a beard?
I had not heard that.
Well, I heard something about there being a time gap between now, the like No Way Home and the next Spider-Man solo film. And I was like, enough of a gap that son T'Challa is now an adult man, So like you literally
Yeah.
are setting yourself up like it just looks so strategic. I could see them being like, okay, so planning for the future, we need to leave all these possibilities open because they don't know how this movie's going to be received, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see T'Challa 2 anytime soon, or T'Challa the second, I want to say.
It's the end of the Last Jedi where we see the little boy with the broom. This is not that. That was a metaphor. We're never going to see that kid ever again. Obviously, the franchise is over, but we were never ever going to see that kid anyways, right? But Son T'Challa, are you telling me this is the last time we're going to see Son T'Challa in a Marvel movie?
No, but I will say that they are building the little things like the Defenders and all these different superhero groups. That's where I see him, like the new Avengers. I feel like he might pop up eventually in one of those things, but I don't think we're gonna get something out of him right away. Like in the next 5 years, we might get a show or something, but I don't think he's gonna be like the forefront Black Panther anytime soon. I think they're gonna run with Shuri for a while. I think she's earned a lot of the fans' love from the first movie. Yeah, she was a bit cringy at times with her jokes, but personally,
What are those?
yeah, that was by far the worst part of that movie.
Mhm.
But going back to that movie, actually, right before watching the first or watching Wakanda Forever, I bumped it up to a 5. I originally had it at a 4. I
Oh, it's
personally,
fantastic.
yeah, it's one of my favorite like movies in general, whether it being Marvel's too, just because all of the different action and different things they do in that movie is just so amazing, and especially the music. It earned the Oscar for sure. But that being said, I think she's earned that spot, and I think they're gonna run with her for a bit. But is it kind of a fail safety net in an opinion? Sure. Could that be a safety net for them putting that at the end? But I think it's more than anything, they're really just trying to show that they really want to honor Chadwick Boseman, I think, as well
Mhm.
as the character of T'Challa in general, just because unfortunately he was taken from us so soon. Especially not even just the character T'Challa, just Chadwick Boseman in general. Fantastic actor and in so many different projects, so
Mhm.
it's a good way to honor him in my opinion. So if that's what they were shooting for, I hope that's what they were doing.
And I agree. I think Letitia Wright did a fantastic job in this movie. I love her arc in this, especially since like I kind of rewatched it in parts at work. But it's interesting because she doesn't really like assert herself as the lead until like halfway through this movie. I would say it feels like more of an ensemble until then, right?
Yes, and actually I'd like to give a shout out to oh, Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett
Mm-hmm.
was fantastic as the queen. I loved her so much, and her like when she has her few just solo moments of her just going on about the different responsibilities and like just telling everybody that they need to basically get their shit together. It was some of the most powerful moments in the movie that had me just like goosebumps, and I was like, if the Oscars could just honor this lady, I wish they would, because
Mm-hmm.
not only in this, like she's fantastic in different TV stuff I watch her in too. So she's the major standout for me in this movie as well.
I agree. I think it'll be warranted if she gets a nomination for Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars. But I think the my hot take about that is her Oscar clip. I feel like would be the scene where she strips Okoye of her general status or something like that.
Yeah,
And I think that Okoye steals that scene for me. Like her reaction and like, because she's such a interesting character. Because remember in the first movie how she stands by Killmonger. You know, she's like, I'm loyal to the throne. You know, so I
yeah.
have to do this. And
She's
I think that's really admirable how principled she is. And now seeing how far she's come, and I just think she's my favorite character in the entire franchise. I've decided of Black Panther.
Oh yeah, I would love to see her get a nomination too. Janai Guerrero is fantastic. She was actually in The Walking Dead as Michonne too. She's a
Mhm.
fantastic actress. And yeah, she stood right with Daniel Kaluuya. I think that was her husband in the first movie. And it
Which
was
I miss
so
him in this.
that yeah, they talked about him still being in prison, which was unfortunate that we didn't even get to see just like a little peek at him, but
Mhm.
I guess spoiler a little bit, we did get to see Michael B. Jordan, which I was really, really hoping for going into it. I was
That
like,
was
if
my
they
favorite scene in the
somehow
movie.
yeah, I was like going into it, I was like, if they somehow just include Michael B. Jordan somehow, I will be so happy. And the way they did it, I was like, this is the perfect way. Because you can't include Chadwick, obviously, so why not include him? I thought that was so smart and it just made the movie that much better. And Ryan Coogler, just a fantastic artist. I love that guy so, so much.
I agree. I think that I'm mad I didn't catch it because we see her suit in the trailer and it's got the gold on it, and we don't even think anything about it. And so when she sees Michael B. Jordan when she drinks the herb, um, that's such a beautiful moment because yeah, we didn't think we were going to see him. First of all, second of all, it informs her arc. Like that is the most essential scene in the movie, I believe, for her character and for her arc.
Hmm.
And just yeah, like you said, giving him another opportunity to have a scene. And I don't know, I just think it's so beautiful, and it's the most visually beautiful scene in the movie for me as well. And I love his death scene in the first movie, but I really wish we could get more of this guy, you know.
So much, man. Michael B. Jordan is one of the best actors around right now. Like the Creed series, I'm so excited that he's directing one now
Mm-hmm.
because I loved the first two so much. I mean, even the second one, I don't think Ryan Coogler directed that one, but it's still just a fantastic movie. So I can't wait to see what Michael B. Jordan does next. And it was so cool to see him in this too.
Mm-hmm. Other hot takes I have about the movie, I think that it would be a much better because I think it is a little long. Like I'm not jumping to rewatch it because it's 2 hours and what 46 minutes. Like that's excessive. But I think if we wanted to, you know, play editor and cut something out, Martin Freeman and Julie Louis Dreyfus do not need to be in this movie.
Yeah, I liked their scenes, but yes, it is not necessary to almost anything in this movie. Like Martin Freeman is kind of like connects a few things and helps like characters find each other, I guess, in a few spots, but in general, neither of them are needed, and it takes up probably a good 15 minutes of screen time, I would say.
Mm.
So yeah, that would definitely knock it down a few minutes for sure, and it would definitely be better because I did have to pee at least once during the movie, even though I did not want to.
I do agree because like I enjoyed their scenes generally, but if I wanted to make this movie tighter, that's the fat of the movie. I don't need that.
Agree.
So and also I it's on me because I haven't done my homework. I haven't watched the Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. Um, and so I know she's at the end of Black Widow as well, but I don't know, just the fact that Martin Freeman has a character poster. We didn't need any of this. Like, yes, we need a perspective of how the United States government, at least, is perceiving things because that's important because most of the MCU takes place in the United States. Um, but yeah,
We honor Bilbo Baggins whenever we can, my guy.
I understand. He's good. He's a good actor. Speaking of things that stood out in this movie, I think not a top five MCU ever, but definitely a top 10 villain. Namor. How'd you feel?
I really liked him. I thought he definitely like unlike some other Marvel villains where you don't really understand why they're even doing what they're doing, he has a lot to him where it's not fully evil intentions. He's trying to do things not necessarily the best ways for sure, but he's
Well, he does
trying,
say he wants to kill everyone, right? Like,
yeah, he definitely has some crazy reasons. I mean, crazy ways about doing things, but he definitely has some valid reasons because of his people being
motivation.
treated so poorly and shit like that. And it's pretty crazy, but he and how violent and how powerful they were by far, his people are insanely cool.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that. I love the little wing feet and how he uses them. Like that could so easily be like a cringy thing that's done poorly, but it's done in such a cool, realistic, but like a way that just makes sense. I
Mm,
feel. I love the sirens that the people do.
yeah.
I think that Namor, the performance is fantastic. I'm really excited about seeing him going forward.
Yeah, especially because they kind of left it open-ended of where he's gonna go. It's very interesting to see how he's gonna team up with maybe some other villains and kind of wreak even bigger havoc that is gonna just be insane to see.
Mm-hmm. So, but is he a top five MCU villain for you, or is just top 10, or
Probably
not?
10. I think he might squeak into 10, but I don't think he'd be very high up on my list yet. I'd have to rewatch the movie again, I think.
Which, well, you know what? That brings me to my thesis statement about the movie is I can name a villain that I like more than what's it called? Namor. Besides Thanos, besides Loki, Killmonger is a much better villain. And I think that's exemplary of the entirety of how I feel about this movie in comparison to the first one. I think the first one is better, much better.
I would agree.
Mhm.
Although I think I got more emotional with this one for obvious reasons,
Mhm.
and it might stay in my mind that much longer for that reason, but rewatching the first one, like I said, I bumped it up to a 5-star movie. I think it's one of the top five probably in the MCU for me,
Mhm.
and I really, really enjoy it. So both of them, I mean, even Wakanda Forever might even bump into the top 10. I'd have to, like I said, I want to rewatch it. I didn't get to see an IMAX like I wanted to, and I don't know if they're still going to be playing it at my theater in a couple weeks, so hopefully I'll get to see it, but if not, I'll watch it at home. But yeah, I'm really excited to watch it again, even though it is that almost 3 hours long, but
Mhm.
I think it's pretty awesome.
Are you gonna see it again in theaters, or are you gonna wait till Disney Plus in like 3 months?
Yeah, if I can catch it in IMAX, that's the only way I want to see it in theaters again, but
Mhm.
if not, I'll catch it in on Disney Plus for sure.
Okay, well, I have the first Black Panther. I think I recently moved that ahead of Winter Soldier, and it's now my sixth favorite MCU movie. And Wakanda Forever is just outside the top 10. It's number 11. I did say it's a 5-star movie. I love it. It's great, but I think there's been so many great Marvel movies that, oh, look at me. Did you hear that? What the Marvel hater just said? That there's been so many great Marvel movies, and this just doesn't crack my top 10. But I think considering the hand that they were dealt, this movie is a home run.
Yeah, exactly. Agree.
Hmm. Any other takes about the movie? I think we hit every character. Oh, Ironheart. How do you feel about? Oh God, that's so exemplary of how I feel about her characters that I completely forgot to talk about her.
I don't even know who Ironheart is at the moment. I
It's
feel
the
bad.
girl who looks like Iron Man at the end of the movie.
Oh,
She
okay.
worked in the
Yeah.
shop with her father,
Yeah.
and I think he's in prison or something. And she goes to the
Yeah.
school that she's the scientist character.
Unfortunately, I did forget about her, but she was cool. She had her, I think she was mostly there for comic relief, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But the Iron Man suit thing was cool for what it was. It kind of felt like maybe just a little bit of pandering for people that miss Iron Man and shit like that. But
Hmm.
it was an interesting character that I think could have been a lot better if they may have played with it a little more. But the runtime was far too long to even put any more time into her, unfortunately.
You know, there's a show coming out soon, Ironheart.
I forgot. Yeah, you are right.
But I think Tully worked on that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no. So I think that that's the I my opinion. See, my friends all made fun of me when I said I love this movie, and they were like, "Oh, Adam, you hate Marvel movies," and I'm like, "Well." there's two people that I feel like are different. James Gunn and Ryan Coogler stand out amongst the crowd, even above the Russos. Like if they touch something that's potentially special, like I think the Guardians is in my top 10, Guardians 2 is in my top 3, and the first Black Panther is my 6 overall. So like these are standout franchises within the MCU. And I think Ryan Coogler has been the MVP all along. I give him all the credit.
Yeah, I honestly think he is the strongest director in the MCU. Like James Gunn, definitely right up there next to him, but from the stuff outside of the MCU, as well as his now both of his movies, I
Mm-hmm.
think by far Ryan Coogler is the most talented director in there.
Mm-hmm. I think he's rumored for Secret Wars, maybe, or an Avengers movie. Would you like him to direct an Avengers movie?
100%. I want Ryan Coogler. If he wants to do more Marvel stuff, awesome. I'd love to see him do other stuff outside of the MCU, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
if he wants to play around with these heroes more and wants to put his style into any of these other heroes, I'm all there for
Mm-hmm. Would you like Ryan Coogler's next big blockbuster movie to be an Avengers sequel, a Black Panther third movie, or something else,
it.
like something original?
Something original, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see
But
what
you
he
know
would
we
do.
got to make a Black Panther 3 in like 4 years.
True.
So you could make something in 2 years and then have 2 years to make Black Panther 3, but you can't do all three. Like, is he going to do an Avengers sequel and then Black Panther 3? Because then we're not going to get Black Panther 3 for a while.
But what if, okay, call me crazy, and we'll go back to this clip if it comes true. But
Mm-hmm.
Michael B. Jordan right now is directing Creed 3. What if Creed 3 is so great that he comes in and does Black Panther 3? You know how dope that would be, him in the director's chair doing this, and then Letitia
Mm-hmm.
Wright is the Black Panther? That would be
Mm-hmm.
sick. He could
I
throw himself in
agree.
some cameos.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what I want to happen. I'm now very excited for Creed 3. Do you know when that comes out?
I think March of next year. It was supposed to come out this year, but I think they pushed it.
That would be so great to come out like right around Christmas.
The second one, I think actually both of them came out right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they're both definitely November movies, but I don't know. I just think our Christmas slate this year is kind of light, because Avatar comes out before, but like Christmas Day, I think it's just like Puss in Boots.
Yeah, and they fucking pushed Shazam, which made me sad.
Yeah, also why? Like compete with Disney a little bit. Like
It's
try.
it's Warner Brothers. For some reason, they decided they only wanted to release two movies this year, which is very, very strange, but they must have been under some type of financial weird shit, I guess, but that's beyond me.
They were. Well, they're going through so much right now. They're going through a change of leadership as well.
Yeah,
So,
with all
but
the discovery and whatnot.
yeah, that's a whole hoo-ha. But yeah, no, I didn't mind the runtime of Black Panther 2 too much. I mean, yes, I would rather it be shorter, but it's an epic movie. I love the Talukan. Is that the name of Namor's people? Or is that
I,
where they are from? That's their home.
I think it's where they're from, but I do not remember.
But I love how we got introduced to a whole new world that was visually cool. I'm terrified of killer whales. That scared the crap out of me every time it showed up.
Yeah, this movie was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool. It was fun. It was emotional.
It's
It
a
hits
whole
all
meal.
it hits all of the beats of just being a great movie and a great blockbuster to kind of bring you into the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 out of 5. Go see it. I recommend it. There's better things in theaters right now. I could name 3 better movies in theaters right now, but you should still go see it.
Actually, I probably could name a few as well. The Menu
Mhm.
being one of them. That's a little preview for later.
Oh yes. So any final thoughts on the Black Panther before we move on?
It's a 5 out of 5 for me. You go see it, just like you said. Go see it in IMAX if you can, because I think a lot of it would be really cool on there. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier, and hold on, what the fuck just happened?
What?
Sorry, my screen, because it finished downloading the other file, it threw me off, so I couldn't see anything anymore. 1 second. Where the hell did my screen go? There, back. Make this okay, cool. So I talked about it earlier, and now I'm going to talk about The Menu because I just watched it earlier today, and it is by far one of the most original horror movies that I've seen this year. Now,
Mhm.
Is it like traditionally a horror movie, like slasher or anything like that? No. It's kind of more like psychological thriller in a way, but also very much a satire. It is as funny as it is creepy at some points, but it's also just it's very interesting. I'm not going to go into spoilers at all, but I will say because it's in the trailers basically, the idea is that all of these people were invited to come to this very prestigious restaurant to have this very nice and curated meal by this very famous chef. And they start to realize that there's some really crazy stuff going on. And it's kind of a satire on how rich people are kind of make food their personality, as well as how food culture is kind of so crazy. And it's really funny in a very unique way of kind of telling this story. Like they edit things and they shoot things that's almost paying homage to cooking at the same time as making fun of like the culinary industry and how people are so crazy about it and act like it's like so fancy and so amazing that they're part of it. And it's very much like poking fun at so many different people while making a horror movie. So there's other movies that did that this year, but like Bodies, Bodies, Bodies being one of them. And it's kind of plays in that same kind of playground in a way.
I was told by people that know me that I would love this movie, and I have yet to see that or She Said from last week, but those were the two big releases. Well, The Menu was the only one that was big.
Yeah,
She
I
Said
didn't
not doing well.
I've heard that She Said isn't like a bad movie at all, but yeah, I didn't see it like popping up in the box office whatsoever. And unfortunately, there are a lot of movies that have come out recently that I haven't got to see yet that I hope you touch on personally. But
Mhm.
this one was the first one I got to get out to recently, and it is by far one of my, it could even kind of pop into my top 10. Like right now, it's one of my favorite horror movies of the year, which is not something I thought going into this, but it's a
Mhm.
very interesting movie. And like I told you before coming on here, I had it at a 4 out of 5 and I bumped it up to a 4.5. And I could even see myself bumping up to a 5 after this because not only like I was saying about all the satire was great, the cast in here is so great. I mean,
Mhm.
Anya Taylor-Joy, who is like one of the best actresses working right now, in my opinion. Is it Ralph Fiennes or Ray Fiennes? I don't know how you
I
say his
was thinking
name.
about that the entire time.
Anyway, he's fantastic. Like, I love Grand Budapest Hotel that he's in, but
Mm.
instead of being that really eccentric character that he is in that, he is very subdued and like a very serious chef. And it's almost kind of more leaning into his role in like Schindler's List, which by far is one of his best roles ever.
Mhm.
So I think it's very interesting all around. And one of my favorite surprise people that I didn't even know was in there until I kept seeing a few memes about him, John Leguizamo. He's in there as a little side character. He is so awesome. It's just he's kind of like a washed up actor that's kind of acting like he's better than he is, and there's a lot of jokes in there about him, and it's kind of playing into I
Sid the
think
Sloth?
yes, and
Yes.
it's actually Luigi in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Ah, yes.
He is like one of the best side characters in like every movie that ever existed.
Mhm.
He's that's just that kind of actor, and I love him so much. And he even said, I think, like in an interview that he based his character in this movie off of Steven Seagal because he thinks that Steven Seagal is like one of the biggest assholes in Hollywood. And I thought that was so fucking funny. But
Wow.
yeah, this movie is so good. I think you're going to love it, and I can't wait to hear
Mhm.
your thoughts once you see it.
I've heard that there's like an unofficial trilogy of vibes with the movies, but it's The Menu, Glass Onion, and Triangle of Sadness have all have a similar vibe to it. Is that
I've yet to
yeah.
see the other two, so I will get back to you on that, but very interesting.
See, it's funny because together we understand because you've seen The Menu and I have seen Glass Onion and Triangle of Sadness. To touch on both of those real quick, I will say Glass Onion, as someone who loves Knives Out, as someone who came to the screening wearing a T-shirt that in the Star Wars font with the stars all around it said directed by Ryan Johnson. Excuse me. Um, of course, I love the movie. Of course, it's fantastic. I think it should be seen in a theater. I will not say much of anything about it, but I think everyone's great. And of course, Daniel Craig is great. And Ryan Johnson found a way to continue to make fresh, original movies out of concepts that have been done to an excessive extent. This is definitely better than Death on the Nile.
That makes me very happy because Death on the Nile, I watched that and I did not really like it that much. But I am also a big fan of Brian Johnson. You're talking to the guy who saw the first Knives Out twice opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy that you've said that because I'm really hoping I get to see it in theaters because I know it's going on Netflix like a week later or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited, especially the cast. Like, I only want to know one thing. Is Dave Bautista great? Because he's one of my favorite people in the world.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. That's all I want to know. So
He's not
happy to
my
hear that.
favorite in the movie, but like he's also great. Like no one's bad in this. Everyone's great. But my personal favorite performance wise, I'll say it because it's not really a spoiler at all. It's Daniel Craig. He's awesome in
Yeah.
it.
He's just fantastic. I mean, the way that dude does his accents and everything,
Hmm.
it's so amazing because like going from James Bond to this to like Logan Lucky, the
Hmm.
dude just does amazing. He's honestly one of the best actors, especially when it comes to changing his voice.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic movie. Everyone needs to go see it, especially before you get spoiled. Because this is the type of movie, especially with being on Netflix, there's going to be already on your computer a high definition version of it. So it's going to go on the internet and be around Twitter very quickly. So don't
Yep.
walk, run. Another movie I wanted to bring up, the third movie in this unofficial vibe trilogy is Triangle of Sadness. This is a foreign film, I'm pretty sure. I was able to see in a theater. It was not a press screening, it was just some random early morning screening. And it was fantastic. It's really long, it's over 2.5 hours, but it's a very rewarding experience. It's broken up into chapters. It's about two models who get invited to go on this yacht and they're dating each other, but they're going through relationship problems. And they get invited to go on this yacht with a bunch of rich people, and everything goes awry. Is That's all I'll say about it, I guess. But it's a very also satirical of like the rich in society. It definitely is about classism. And I really enjoyed it. It's hilarious. It's beautifully shot. The performances are great. It's wildly funny, but it's also super suspenseful at times and super like the ending of this movie had me like on the edge of my seat. It's a also must see. It's currently number 10 on my top 10 of the year, and I couldn't say more good things about it if I tried.
Well, that makes me very excited because like that's everything I kind of heard about this movie. Like I've heard everything is really great about it. And kind of the way you explain that is kind of the same way I kind of explained the menu. So honestly, if you liked that one, I think you're gonna like the menu as well. So I think we're in for some great movies coming up. Like this is one that I've been kind of waiting to see. It hasn't really popped up in my theater yet, I don't think. So very hopeful that I get it before the end of the year.
Mm. Yeah, definitely check it out. To throw it back though to spooky time, you recently got to see Paramount Plus's Smile. How'd you feel about that?
It was dog shit. I hated it. I
Wow.
didn't like hate it, but it
Wow.
was a bit overhyped, I will say. People were saying it was like one of the best horror movies of the year in some spots, and I'm not really seeing it. Like the stuff they were touching on with like the psychology and stuff, for sure was cool, but there was just so many jump scares that didn't really pay off in any way. There were some definitely like crazier moments and stuff that I wasn't necessarily expecting, but I don't think anything really scared me that
Mhm.
much. And it's not anything that really stuck with me or really I've thought about since I watched it like on Saturday or something. So yeah, it's kind of just one that came and went for me. The marketing material and like Paramount sending people to like baseball games and shit and staring into
That
cameras,
was awesome.
that was scarier than the movie. I think the promo material definitely did way better than the movie did at scaring me. So I don't know.
I
What are
can't
your
believe I gave this movie 2 out of 5. and I'm going to be the one that's defending it. Um, the villain
Oh
at
no,
the end that
what happened?
shows up is worth the price of admission alone. I was almost like, I don't do half stars, but I really want to give this 2.5 because I generally enjoyed my experience of seeing it. I just think it's too long and it's like original-ish, but it's uninspired. It's like kind of reminded me of that like Truth or Dare movie, but without any of the like, this is so bad that it's good, because Truth or Dare is ridiculous.
So I haven't seen Truth or Dare, but when I saw the trailer for this, I didn't want to see this movie because I thought it looked exactly like Truth or Dare with all the Smile
Mhm.
bullshit. I was like, if this is what it is, I don't want it. But the thing I will give Smile, which I think I wrote in my little letterbox review, which I did give it 2.5 stars, which is funny. But
Mhm.
the first scene before we get to the title card, I think is an amazing short film of
Mhm.
just that first girl, which I guess the movie was based off of a short film, with that
Mhm.
main girl being the main character, I guess. I read
Mhm.
that, I think, on like IMDb or something. But
It
that,
definitely feels like a film debut.
yes, that exactly. I don't
Mhm.
think it's anything horrible. Like, it's not, although it is one of my least favorite movies of the year, I don't think it's like a bad movie. Like, there's definitely some
Mhm.
promising moments in there and some moments that are genuinely like to other people that aren't as like into horror, I guess, as me, that might actually get scared by them. But I think that first like 15 minutes of the therapist meeting with this girl and kind of learning about the whole Smile situation is by far the best part of the whole movie for me.
I'm pulling up the stats right now, but this movie was like an abject like success at the box office. Like it cost
Oh,
$17 million to make. It made 22 in its opening weekend. Domestically alone, 104 million, and worldwide 213 million off of a $17 million budget. Like, this is a crazy success, right?
we'll have Smile 2 by the end of next year, no matter what, for sure. I mean, especially with the company being Paramount, being the people who were behind Paranormal Activity, making all of those movies over and over again because they kept just pumping out very small budgets and making heroic box office records. So if they can keep doing stuff like this, and honestly, with this idea, I think the movie could be better. Like if they tried to do a Smile 2, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't go watch it. But is it something that like I'm jonesing for? Not in the slightest, but are there people out there that genuinely liked this movie and think it was one of the best horror movies of the year? I actually think so. Looking on Letterboxd and seeing different people's takes on it, I was kind of surprised, but at the same time, I'm not as the mainstream audience would say for horror. Like, I like very different things in horror. I like most things, but
Mhm.
when it comes to actually trying to scare me, it takes a lot sometimes.
Mhm. Sorry, I was plugging in my computer, but my experience with Smile, I caught it late in theaters, but I think I saw it in the beginning of October when I had just started my horror movie, like 31 horror movies in 31 days, not one every day, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So the genre had gotten monotonous to me, and Smile really exemplified that monotony because it was very much so like every horror movie felt like, oh, something is haunting this girl and she's just a normal girl trying to live her life, and she's getting haunted by this magical, not magical, but like, fictional force that is ruining her life, and no one else can see it except her, so she seems crazy when she tried to explain it to other people, and it just felt like the same horror movie I'd seen a million times. But especially you talking about a sequel right now, I would invite that. But let's kind of go that like Happy Death Day to You route where it's like, all right, now let's dial it up. You know what I mean? Let's like go crazy with it. I don't
Hmm.
think Happy Death Day to You is great. It's definitely not better than the first one, but it definitely went for it. And if you doubled the budget to like 35 million, right? I think that would be a fun opportunity because now you got some brand name recognition. And what a year for Paramount at the box office with Top Gun Maverick as well. Sorry, that was a big tangent.
No, but you're right. I mean, Paramount definitely has some definitely big successes this year, which going into this year, I would have never called that. Like you're thinking Disney,
Mhm.
Warner Brothers. Paramount is probably, I mean, obviously Disney's probably going to come out pretty big with Avatar coming up,
Mhm.
especially right now, but
Yeah, but
and,
Sonic
and
2.
Yeah, Sonic 2, all of these movies together, Paramount is doing pretty damn well for themselves this year. And I'm
The Lost
guessing like,
City did well.
yeah, and I'm guessing like Paramount Plus seems to be like fairly popular among people. There's not like a bunch of people that are really pissed off about it like HBO sometimes has. So
Mhm.
honestly, I think they're having a pretty good year, and Smile isn't like the worst thing. And yeah, I definitely invite a sequel, like you were saying. Just do some more shit, take some chances with it, and I think it could be a really fun franchise if they really wanted to try something.
Mhm. Speaking of Paramount Plus, are you going to watch the Blues Clues No Way Home?
I might, just out of curiosity, because my niece does watch the new Blue's Clues sometimes, and I caught that there was a new guy on there. So,
Mhm.
and they actually have like the old Steve and Joe guys on there every now and again too. So
Yeah, that's what the movie's about. They're all together. That's why it's like No Way Home.
yeah, so I'm if I have my niece there, I might, but if I'm just like sitting around, I don't think I'm gonna pop it on personally.
Before we leave Smile, did you give it a 1 out of 5 or where are you at?
No, I actually gave it 2.5, so I actually gave it more than you.
You said it was dog shit
I
though.
I I don't think it was like I said, it had more potential that I don't think it met, but I don't think it was the worst thing. I take back that it was dog shit, I guess. It's not the worst. It
I like
has
how I opened with, oh, I can't believe I'm defending this movie and I give it 2 stars. I should have been the one talking about how it's bad.
it is bad. Like I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying that like I said, if there's a sequel, I think it has very good potential of overtaking the first movie by a
Hmm.
lot because they definitely set some groundwork. Like I said, playing with like the psychological, like mental state and stuff like that, like making it, I don't know if this is or them like people around her, like, is this just her being crazy or is this an actual monster? Blah blah blah. Like making it ambiguous like that, especially with the way it was going about it. Like there was some really interesting stuff, but it just didn't really get to that point for me.
Hmm.
So that's
I
why it's yeah.
I agree. It's definitely a middling, especially in such a great year for horror. It doesn't stand out to me very much at all. It's except in the box office.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have on Smile. Do you have anything else for me?
I'm just gonna throw out a few things real quick after that, actually. So
Mhm.
I watched an 80s movie not that long ago that my friend Madison brought up to me, and it's one of her favorite like 80s movies, and it's called uh Girls Just Want to Have Fun. It's like a dance movie that has like Sarah Jessica Parker and I want to say like Helen Hunt or something. And it has that song in it multiple times, but
Thinking about
it
it.
it is actually like so entertaining. Like it has a lot of funny moments. I want to say there's like it's like Adam Goldberg or something like that that's in it. That's like a dude that's in a bunch of stuff now as like a side character, but he was like a young kid back then. But the whole premise is like it's an 80s dance TV show that these girls want to get onto. So they're trying to like break out of their Catholic school to go and audition for this dance competition. And all of the music in it is actually really good. And it made me smile a lot. So I honestly
Girls
recommend
just
it to
want to have
you.
fun.
Yeah.
I
Sarah
found
Jessica
it
Parker.
here. I have found it here.
Give it a watch. I
Um,
think it's entertaining.
Interesting. Interesting. I'm trying to find that Adam Goldberg guy that you were talking about because that piqued my curiosity there.
But the other movie I want to bring up that I don't know if you've seen it yet, Weird, the Al Yankovic story. As you can see with my look, I should have been in that movie. First off, I just want to say that I should have been Weird Al, and I still want to be Weird Al because I do want to say this movie is so much fun. If you get a chance to watch it, it's on like Roku app or whatever, which whatever the app was kind of shitty. I didn't really love it, but the movie is awesome. I want to get it on like Blu-ray once it comes out because did you ever watch like Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story?
No, but I've been told I love it.
It is the goofiest, but I love it so much. And this movie is very much like you would expect Weird Al being the satire guy. This
Mhm.
movie is a satire of biopics. Like it's making fun of like Bohemian Rhapsody and a bunch of other shit. And it's basically like Weird Al making a satire out of his own life story. Like he
Mhm.
basically exaggerates that he uh meets all of these different people and he has like a love affair with Madonna and he has to like save her from like drug lords and like shoot up a whole place and everything. And
Mhm.
there is so many just goofy moments in this movie and so many different celebrity cameos. Like Conan
Mhm.
O'Brien plays
Well, don't
Andy
tell
War.
me anything. Don't
No,
tell me. I
this
will
one's all
definitely
over
see
everywhere,
it.
but Conan
I
O'Brien
haven't
has a
seen
funny cameo.
anything.
there's a bunch of people that have cameos. That's all I'll say, I guess.
Mhm.
But
I
it is
definitely
so
want to
much
see it because I
fun.
love Daniel Radcliffe so much.
Yeah, and if you're all of a fan of Weird Al at all, there's so much in there that you're just gonna fucking adore. When it comes to the history, like
Mhm.
a lot of it, like it's funny the way he did it because he is the writer of the movie too. And he has moments that are true, but he exaggerates them to the point where it's so fucking ridiculous that it just makes you laugh so hard. Like the idea, I think, is like the is it bagpipes or whatever that he plays? Bagpipes are like fucking illegal and shit, and it's like weed. Like they find it and they're like, "We found these," and it's like, and the cops like bust in when he's playing the fucking bagpipes and stuff, and he like gets arrested. It is so funny, but it is so stupid. And if you buy into it, it's going to be a blast. When I
Mhm.
walked into the movie, like turned it on, I thought it was actually going to be a real biopic. But
Mhm.
once you start getting into it and you start to see what Weird Al did, it's kind of brilliant. I think I
Mhm.
gave it like a 4 out of 5 or something like that. But honestly, I could see it going to a 5 if I watch it again because it's a blast and I can't recommend it enough.
I've been told I'd love it. It looks like something I love. White Nerdy and The Saga Begins, both fantastic. I Amish Paradise. I can't wait. I definitely need to see that as well.
Like a Surgeon is one of my favorites. Cutting
Um,
for the very first time.
but yes, so we are in that time of year where so many great movies coming out. Another one I wanted to bring up to you is also releasing on Wednesday. Bones and All might be one of my favorite movies of the year. Timothy Chalamet is fantastic in this movie. Um,
Luca Guadagnino or whatever is the director.
yeah, from Call Me by Your Name, which is a fantastic movie as well. It's on
Yes,
Netflix right now. If you haven't seen that, I will never look at a peach the same way ever again.
it is, but it's a
But
lovely movie though.
it is. Even if a cannibal's in it, I still love
Ex-
it. But this movie is horrifically beautiful, like hauntingly beautiful. It's one of this like it's a great entry into the horror genre. But it's like a better version of Twilight. I feel like if Twilight was like an A24 movie,
I was just about to ask, is it like Twilight for goth girls, like it's hardcore goth girls?
it's like creepy, but it's also like poetic and beautiful. And I really buy their romance. I mean, that's the best part about the movie right there. Mark Rylance is pretty scary as the villain in this movie. It's definitely one I want to rewatch at some point. And it's like I said, it's one of my favorite movies of the year. 5 out of 5. You need to see it.
Honestly, you sold me right there with everything you just said. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was already I saw the trailer actually earlier today, I think on like YouTube or something when I was watching a video. And
Mm-hmm.
it was sold me right away from just seeing the it looked like it was so horrific, but yeah, yet again, like you were saying, so like love story-ish and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everything you said right there, it sounds like it will also be in my top 10 of the year right now. So I can't wait to see it. You said Wednesday?
Yeah, yeah. Everything comes out Wednesday. Fablemans.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to make a couple of trips to the theater this weekend for sure then because there's a lot of things I need to see.
One thing that you could stay at home and see is the new Disenchanted movie. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the first movie, which you just saw for the first time, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, you are correct. I actually just now watched it. So the only exposure I ever had to this movie going into this was the bike scene with like
James
what's with
Marsden.
James Marsden getting hit by all the bicyclist guys, and it is hilarious. But I did not expect to laugh as much as I did in this movie. Like the premise is so brilliant, bringing these cartoon characters into like a modern day New York and just seeing them have to interact with all of these asshole people. It's the
Mhm,
smartest place to put them, and it just made me laugh so much of seeing him and Amy Adams, like those two especially, phenomenal in their roles of just being still cartoon characters in a real life situation. And they felt so out of place, but at the same time so lovely and just bubbly and fun. So
mhm,
seeing them in that place, like definitely McDreamy did not really steal the show whatsoever. It was definitely those two, and I'm very curious to see where Disenchanted goes from here because 15 years later seems like a long time to go back to these characters. So how did they kind of match up?
mhm. Well, just to speak on the first movie a little bit, I think that this is a goated Amy Adams performance, if not my favorite, and it's a goated James Marsden performance, if not my favorite.
Yeah.
They're both amazing. Like I said, Grey's Anatomy stinks. in the movie. He's so annoying and douchey. Anyone else could play that role and it would have been fine. Also, he just like, I don't know, he's such a jerk. But and Susan Sarandon also is fantastic in the first movie. We forget about that. The second one is definitely. Did you like Hocus Pocus too?
I did for what it was. I mean,
Then
yeah, I liked how the character, like, honestly, I felt like those witches were the same, and I'm a big fan of the first one, so yeah, I
mm,
thought it was pretty fun.
then I think you'll enjoy this. It's still a musical. It's definitely got that like straight to Disney Plus, like Disney Channel original movie kind of like budget and feel to it. But Amy Adams is back. Like everyone's back. Maya Rudolph's now the villain, and so that's kind of like
That's what I was
like
gonna ask. Is she good?
well, it's just like we've been there. You know what I mean? We've seen this character before. I'm pretty sure it's Maya Rudolph. Am I
It
wrong
is.
about that? Okay,
No,
thank God. But yeah, the in hers the villain song is my favorite song in the movie, but it's definitely like tired and unnecessary, and like I just know that this is making being made just for content. Like someone argued with me on Twitter. Like I responded to a buddy who was like, "It's bad," and I was like, "Yeah, it's bad." And then this woman goes like, "Well, I loved it, and I'm gonna watch it again right now." And I was like, "Okay, dog, enjoy it." And then 3 days later, the Rotten Tomato score came out at like 40%, 42%, and I was like, my 2 out of 5 looks really pretty right now.
yeah, I think I'll probably enjoy it, but yeah, I'm not really expecting a whole lot for a sequel 15 years later, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the same thing as Hocus Pocus. Have your expectations there. So I think it's worth watching for you. I think you'll enjoy it. But
Hmm.
it doesn't touch the first movie in any way, shape, or form, which would be a 5 out of 5 for me. If it didn't have that stupid Patrick Dempsey guy, it's a 4 out of 5. But I really love the concept of just being like, okay, let's make something. It's ambitious. It's an ambitious movie, and it's kind of iconic. Like her, coming out of the sewer into Times Square, like that's iconic. The dragon on top. I had an older sister growing up, so I was definitely a Disney Channel girl and watching a lot of Hannah Montana. And you know how many times I've watched this trailer and yeah, the iconic like he's singing and the bikes knock
Yeah,
him over. Like
that
this
I
movie
mean,
is perfect.
I was a boy with two older brothers, and I still watched Hannah Montana all the time and saw the trailer all the time. So that's really all the exposure I had for so long, and I don't know why I ever really avoided it because it came out in 2007, which I was only 11 years old at the time, which I still could have seen it, but for some reason I
Mhm.
just never did. But honestly, I think if I watched it back then, I probably would have watched it a few times, especially because it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I have a feeling I'll probably enjoy the second one for what it is, but I'm not expecting like to be like my new favorite Disney movie or anything.
Yeah, definitely not your new favorite ever. But I don't know. When it comes to Disney Plus original content, like it's no Chippendale, but it's definitely better than Pinocchio. I'm excited for the new Guillermo del Toro one. I'm going to see that within the next 2 days, along with the menu. She said Fablemans and maybe Devotion. But were there any
I
other
think
movies you wanted to touch on?
I just wanted to say that I think I'm gonna make a video eventually on my own YouTube channel, maybe, where I
Hmm.
watch because I haven't watched the new Pinocchio yet on Disney Plus with fucking Tom Hanks or whatever. So I might
Terrible.
watch both of them at the same time and then do a video and compare them because I have a feeling one's gonna be much better than the other.
Oh
Especially with
yeah,
me being a huge Shape of Water boy that a lot of people are mixed on, I guess, but I like the lady fucking the fish, I guess. So
Shape of Water is beautiful. I'll never forget. Right, like that's iconic to me.
that was
But
it was the first movie I ever saw in theaters by myself. It means a lot to me.
really,
Hmm.
Shape of Water.
Yep. Yep. I drove literally from my hometown. It wasn't playing. I drove 45 minutes to go see it.
Wow, interesting. I my parents would regularly, when I was like 13, drop me off at the theater, and I would just go watch something myself.
I was afraid to go by myself, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, it's definitely lonely, but it's serene. It's sweet.
I didn't like it at first, but now it's my favorite way to do things. I don't have to worry about anybody else. I just do my own shit.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree. No one's talking to me at all. But everybody is talking about the. Did we talk about Lydia Tarr
We
in our
have
last
not.
episode?
Mm-mm.
We need to talk about Lydia Tarr. Is this a movie that's on your radar at all? Because I don't think you've seen it, right?
No, I did. I did see it.
You watched Tar?
I saw it last week, I think. Yeah.
Oh, recently. Okay, because I saw it like over
Let
a
me
month
look
ago.
just to be sure, but yeah.
But Tar is one of my favorite movies of the year, hands down. I think Kate Blanchett's lead performance is my favorite best female lead of the year. I think that ending feels like getting punched in the stomach in the best way possible. And it's just a movie that I think has a lot to say.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it again because I wasn't in I will say toward the beginning, I wasn't really into it. It took me a while to really get into it, but by the end, especially that ending, insane. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely like her performance is like you said, Oscar nomination lock, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, she could probably run away with it right now, especially with all the reputation she's been getting off of it. And yeah, I think especially the cinematography, the way the camera moves about, like especially throughout the different scenes when she's in the room, like directing the band and everything,
Mm-hmm.
some of the coolest directing, especially the way the camera moves. And yeah, she just, especially Kate Blanchett, is fantastic. And I wasn't expecting it to be like almost a thriller more than a drama at some points. It was very,
Mm-hmm.
very bizarre, but in the best ways. Like at the beginning, I almost put this movie almost like a 2 star because, like I said, I was not into it. But
Mm-hmm.
by the end of it, it got to a 4 star for me. I don't think it's necessarily gonna be in my top 10 of the year, but I respect the hell out of it and I really, really enjoyed it.
It's a 5 out of 5 for me. It's currently my third favorite movie of the year. I just recently moved it up ahead of Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and The Batman. I dressed up as Lydia Tarr for Halloween. I think she's an icon. I think
Just by the way, I'm
uh
gonna put your Lydia Tar picture on here somewhere, I think. I have to.
awesome. Yes, I would love it because I love that's how much I love this movie. Definitely go see it. I hope it gets nominated for all of the Oscars.
Yeah, like I said, like it wasn't my favorite, but I think it's earned, like especially cinematography, all that kind of stuff. The sets look phenomenal. The
Mm,
music, so, so good. There's so many great things about this movie. Was it a bit long for me? It was. I
yeah.
just I couldn't like there were some parts that I was like, okay, well, let's push through this. I want to see what happens, but yeah, overall, I think it's definitely worthy of your time. All the different, especially if you're a fan of the filmmaking aspects of movies, there's a lot to grab here. So definitely go see Tar.
hmm there's been so many great movies. Like I could keep going about like RRR. Did you see that?
Yes,
hmm
that honestly might still be in my top 10. That
hmm
is it is one of it's like a superhero movie that's not a superhero movie. It looks better than a lot of the Marvel movies, especially that came out this year.
hmm
It's insane how great that movie is and how much I want to see more movies from that area. Like it's not a Bollywood movie. I forget what it's actually called, but it's a
hmm
different type of movie in India and it is so amazing. Like it's that movie, yeah, it was long, but I would love to see that in a theater because unfortunately I haven't been able to do that. All I got to see was on Netflix, but this is an epic movie that if you haven't seen it yet and it's still on Netflix, go watch it immediately. You will not regret it.
hmm
Maybe break it like I broke it up into a halves. Like I watched the first half, like almost where that bridge scene is, and I cut it right
Well,
after
there
that
is
bridge
an
scene.
intermission.
There is
And RRR mission.
because they had like the little title, I think, at that bridge scene too, even though it's like an hour and a half in. I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut it here, and then like, but I tried to wait till the next day, and I couldn't. I only waited a few hours, and then I finished the movie because it was just that good. I wanted to jump
Mhm.
right back into it.
Epic is definitely a word I would use to describe this. It's a movie about brotherhood and friendship, and it's really beautiful. I love both the main characters. I understand who they are and why they conflict with each other and why they care about each other. I'm completely sold on everything in this movie. The music is fantastic, the dancing's fantastic, the effects are fantastic. Just the sequences in general are so imaginative and like it's like magical realism almost because like it's like a real thing that happened but like
Hmm.
there's exaggerated moments that I'm sure are just more for like visual effect because this is like a lot of this stuff I feel like happened, you know what I
Yeah, a
mean?
lot of it is the history over in India for sure. There's a lot of
hmm
different, I think they embellished a few things, but there's a lot of it that definitely has a lot of historical relevance. And I'm actually curious to kind of learn about it more after seeing it, just to kind of compare the two. Because, yeah, like
hmm
you were saying, it is one of by far one of the best film movies of the year. It's talked
Mhm.
about all over the film industry. Like film Twitter is just covered in this movie, and I think it's going to be talked about at the Oscars for sure. If
Oh,
it's
that was
not,
my question. What do you think it's going to get nominated for?
if it doesn't win Best International Picture, I would be insanely shocked. Just because
Mhm.
of how big it's gotten, like especially over in America. I think it's all over the world, honestly, too. So, yeah, I think it's a lock for that nomination. And if it got a Best Picture nomination, that would be pretty sick too, honestly.
I was about to say, do you think it has Parasite, Drive My Car potential? Like it gets nominated outside of just the Best International Film category?
I really hope so.
Because you know it's going to have a little bit of competition over there in Best International Film because All Quiet on the Western Front, the Netflix movie, was fantastic, and also um, there's Triangle of Sadness is an international film, which I also loved.
Yep. Ugh, sorry.
Hmm.
There's definitely gonna be some competition there. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. And honestly, I could see Triple R even breaking into like the visual effects categories too of all of the different
Hmm.
things they did, like especially that tiger scene. Holy
Hmm.
shit, that looks sick.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. We have been blessed with such a fantastic year for movies. I'm already at like 120 something, but one of them doesn't count because it's Marmaduke. Do you want to speak on Marmaduke real quick?
So I just want to apologize to you first off that I kind of talked you into watching that, I guess, with my review, but I wanted to try to watch most of the Netflix releases, especially the US Netflix releases of the year, and I went back and saw that there was a Marmaduke movie that I didn't really hear about at all, starring Pete Davidson, and it is honestly right now, I think it's easy to say worst movie of 2022. I think it's pretty much a lock there. It is horrible. The animation looks like it came out in like 2002 or something. It is
Hmm.
bad. It doesn't even look like the voices, like the people who animated it to make the voices match to the lips of the people talking, doesn't even really match that well. The story
Hmm.
is stupid. The acting is stupid. I can't, just don't watch it. I mean, if you want to watch anything, try to look up the Pete Davidson rap in the credits on YouTube. That's the best part.
I have the Adams every year, and I have the Rise of Skywalker award, which goes to the worst movie of the year. And this year, I think I want to rename it the Netflix award for worst movie of the year because my bottom three, I think the only 0-star movies in the year for me are Me Time, the comedy with Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg, and the Tortoise. Uh, Home Team. You saw Home Team,
I
right?
did.
With Kevin James as Sean Payton. Yeah, I would also retire if Kevin James played me.
I love Mall
Number
Cop.
Yes, that performance is iconic.
I
But
saw it in theaters. It's great.
yeah, but like Billy Bean got played by like Brad Pitt. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a big difference there. And but the other thing I wanted to talk about was Marmaduke as a 0-star movie as well, because it is just completely devoid of any quality whatsoever. For the website that I write for, we are assigned a movie, we in a draft, and I drafted Marmaduke, and Netflix did not send it to me. And we know when that happens, it means the movie's garbage, and this movie is garbage. It's some of the ugliest animation I've ever seen in my life. The original Toy Story animation that came out over like what, 20 years ago,
Hmm.
25 something years ago
Yeah, it
is better than this.
came out before I was alive, and I'm 26, so yeah, it's old.
It's terrible. Pete Davidson is an awful casting choice and he does a terrible job. Like that's one thing I know I trashed on Strange World earlier. Jake Gyllenhaal has a great like was it voiceover performance in Strange World. Pete Davidson's terrible in this. It's ugly. It's like poop and fart jokes. It's
Yeah,
like
I'm not
so
even sure.
lowbrow.
I'm not even sure Pete Davidson knew what he was doing when he was handed the script. There's like, here, just read this shit, and he was just in a room just reading stuff because it didn't feel like he had really any emotion doing it. It was just really goofy and dumb. It was not really worth your time. Don't watch
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, honestly, if you rename that trophy, don't even rename it the Netflix, rename it the Marmaduke. Because I mean, even the other Marmaduke live action one, not a good movie either. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
It's definitely
over
the fan four stick of the Marmaduke cinematic universe.
by far. They're 0 for 2 with Marmaduke stuff, and maybe we just let that dog just just go home.
Netflix also, well, it's funny because we back in our classic roles because I hated a movie that you seem to really enjoy. Another movie that I was assigned, The Wonder, which stars um, Florence Pugh and is directed by a guy who was won an Oscar for A Fantastic Woman back in like 2017.
I think so. Let me just look just to be sure because I do have it up.
But this movie, it's not a spoiler because I think this is in the trailer. It's been circulating film Twitter. It opens with like a shot, like a panning shot of a set, and like a
mhm.
narrator being like, "Hey, just like go along with it, okay? Like just buy into what we're selling here, please." And it just feels so pretentious. And I like pretentious things usually, but it just feels so like I don't know, it just took me out of it immediately. And the entire time, all I'm thinking is, I don't give a fuck if this girl eats or not, you know?
Well, I will say right offhand, that beginning part and the book, like the bookends of the set parts, I did not get it. Don't really care for it either. I don't like it. That's not what I'm here for. I liked the rest of it. I liked Florence Pugh in it. I thought that part was kind of, yeah, like you were saying, very pretentious and dumb. I didn't really care about it. But the actual story that's being told, I thought was very interesting in my opinion, because it's commenting on things that were definitely issues of the time that are still unfortunately issues of today. Whether it's being the classic argument of is it science over religion and stuff like that, and unfortunately the other part of this story being the sexual abuse nature from a family member, which is unfortunately a very bad issue that still happens today, unfortunately, and all the different complications that come with that, and a lot of things that are just hard material to deal with that I feel like they did so very well. And especially with Florence Pugh being by far one of the best actresses working today. She's probably my favorite actress, like, period, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the setting and everything. I think they nailed it with all the different set design and everything. And like I said, I think the tone and everything kind of it was definitely somber. It's not like a feel-good movie by any means, but I think they went about the material quite well, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Like, is it gonna be a favorite of the year for me? No, but I think it was pretty damn well made.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I was bored. I was just bored with this movie.
I get
It's
it.
not like I'm very passionately against it. I just once I found out what it was about, I just kind of thought that it was stupid. And I was like, why would you hire this lady and then not believe her when she's trying to tell you the things that her profession tells her is what's happening? I don't know. I
I
just
mean,
thought it was dumb.
at the same time though, especially the time period, they just think that she's a stupid lady. Like that's and then they kind
Then
of play
why'd
with
you bring
that.
her? Then why hire the woman?
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the movie. It's like, why did you hire me if you're not gonna fucking listen to me and stuff like that? And it's unfortunately that's just what it was, especially back then. Like they kind of just were like, we just want you to kind of look at her and kind of prove to us that it's God doing all this shit and it's not actually like her faking all of us and pretending and bullshit and trying to just fake everything. Like they really wanted to
Mm-hmm.
believe that she's some type of like fucking gift from God and she's like this magical being and stuff. And it was kind of interesting because I feel like that's a very realistic thing that happened back then. Like because
Mm-hmm.
technology was not a thing, they kind of just were like, what else can we believe? We don't have anything to disprove what she's saying. So it's interesting to kind of see it from that angle and kind of just buy into the shit. If you don't want to buy into it, then yeah, you probably won't like this movie. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was about the story that I, for a lot of people, yeah, I can see that how it could be very boring and something grabbed me. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but maybe it's just me being a huge Florence Pugh guy. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it.
I will say I'm lower on her than your average Joe because I think that in my book, she won a Razzie last year for the Black Widow and her Adam Sandler, Happy Madison esque Russian accent that she had in that movie.
I
But
didn't hate it.
no, I know people like her a
I
lot.
have rose-colored glasses though.
I was trying to think who my favorite actress was when you were saying that, and I think Margot Robbie is fantastic, and I haven't even seen Babylon yet. But yeah, no, it's on Netflix, so catch it. It's got a good
Yeah,
director. It's got a good lead star. Why not? You
honestly,
know.
my little pantheon of like female actresses right now working is like Florence Pugh, Anya Taylor-Joy, honestly, probably Margot Robbie too. Zendaya, and I don't really know who else kind of like tops out that top five. Maybe
Kate Blanchett for me, Olivia
Samara
Colman.
Weaving, maybe because I like her and all the horror stuff a lot, like Ready or Not.
She's good. I like her. But probably Saoirse Ronan for me. She's
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
fuck,
Lupita Nyong'o.
Saoirse Ronan drops her out completely. Yeah, and oh yeah, Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita and
Hmm.
Us is just like she should have won an Oscar for that, especially same thing with fucking Toni Collette too. Toni Collette should
Toni
have won.
Collette also up there for me. Like, there's a lot of great Ana de Armas. There's a lot of great actresses working
Ana de
today.
Armas lost me with fucking Blonde.
Oh, I love Blonde. Oh man, well, so many good movies. If there's any message to be received from this show today, this episode, it's that there's so much good stuff out there, whether it's at the theaters, whether it's on streaming services or on demand, or if you pirate, even if you pirate, screw them, screw the studios. No,
No
I'm kidding.
pirate.
Pay for things. You're voting with your wallet. This is why Transformers is popular. So,
Yes,
if you go watch these movies, then people will believe their success is just like how Black Panther makes millions of money.
exactly. I had a little rant in my video that I did for Menu, which hopefully it'll be out very soon once we get this podcast up too. But go see these original movies. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can go see Black Panther and you should. That's awesome. But
Yeah,
see the Menu, see the Triangle of Sadness or whatever it's called. Is that right?
yeah. Glass Onion.
See Glass Onion. See all of these movies that are made by original filmmakers who are telling these original stories that they're writing themselves. There's so much cool shit out there, especially this year, especially in the horror genre. I'll say that all day. The horror genre, especially this year, has been fantastic. So go out there and support all of these movies. Netflix, Disney Plus, the theater, all of that. There's so much here that we've recommended today, and let us know in the comments below what your favorites are of the year, or ask us any questions if you're thinking about watching a movie. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. But if you don't want to go on there and you want to see our thoughts right away, we both have letterbox accounts as well. We
Mm-hmm.
update them very, very regularly. We'll have those links down in the description too. And we both have our YouTube channels. Like I said, my video of the menu will be up very soon. You got anything you're working on anytime soon?
My hard review of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever sequel is one of my highest performing ever, and I've been trying to do more as of late. I might do a Glass Onion one here soon, but I will definitely be doing an Avatar Way of Water video very, very soon.
I will be too, and they'll probably be very different videos because I saw the runtime for Avatar 2 today, and I'm not excited about it whatsoever.
Mhm.
I've already started to write jokes about it.
Mhm. Let us know in the comments. Black Panther was nominated for Best Picture. Do you think this one will be nominated for any Oscars as well? Thank you guys so much for checking us out today. I am Adam from Adam Steve Show. Check me out on my things, Steve.
And I am Steve from the Film Fan Reviews. Follow me over there and follow me on Letterboxd too, and we will see you next time at the movies.